Beautiful sessions. The part of the generative AI components, large language models. This is the continuation to the yesterday's session. In the yesterday's session of large language models, I gave you an introduction part to that large language model, how it was started from the concept of generative AI, which is a subfield of deep neural networks. With the intersection of generative AI, these large language models will started this evaluation. Now coming to the large language models, I am repeating again the definition. These are large general purpose trained model. Large general purpose models trained on huge data set and were tailored to focus tasks on a small data sets. Whatever the knowledge these models gained and acquired from the huge data set training will be transferred to the focused tasks on the small data sets by fine tuning. This is what exactly the definition of large language models. As a part of the large language models in the yesterday's session, I introduced the concept of OpenAI and how to work with the OpenAI API. I had shown you how to create OpenAI API key and I had shown you how to use that also in a Python. Right. Today I am going to focus on the second one, that is called ChatGPT. So today's session about the large language model is the focus on ChatGPT. We know that this was developed by OpenAI. The version right now what we are working is 3.5. Of course, the advanced version 4 is also released. That you can experience in Microsoft released Bing app. It is using ChatGPT 4 version. OpenAI ChatGPT, whatever we are using right now is the version of, latest version is ChatGPT 3.5. Today's discussion is on this concept. So it was developed in, released in November 2022. And yet till the year before, that is up to September 2021, this model was trained on the internet data and the book corpus data. That's the reason why in the yesterday query, and when I posted the query, what is the age of Narendra Modi, he replied and responded with, as per my knowledge up to September 21, he would be 70 or 71 years. Is it clear? GPT 3.5 was trained till 21 November and was released in 21 September and was released in 22 November. That's it. Okay. If you see the popularity of, if you are releasing a new app, obviously you will see about how became this popular. What is the popularity it gained? This ChatGPT takes the position of hitting the milestone of 100 million monthly users within a period of within 2 months period of time. You just imagine how popularly this app grew up. Right? For the same thing, Instagram took around 30 months, nothing but 2.5 years time it took for Instagram to reach the same milestone of getting 100 million monthly subscriptions. You just do the comparison of this with the rest of all the other apps also. You just imagine how popular this ChatGPT was. Within 2 months of time, it became more popular. It reached that milestone. Right. What is the reason behind this? Because of its ability of performing the tasks. How can you say the model ability? Obviously, in terms of its parameters. Now, when you are talking about how it is this ChatGPT is working, obviously the heart of this ChatGPT, whether it is the version 3.5 right now, current version, or the advanced 4, the heart of this ChatGPT model is the concept of large language models. In turn, the mechanism of encoder decoders along with the self attentions. So, the models, how these models was built? These models, what is this large language model? Simple. It's a huge network. It's a deep neural network, a kind of deep neural network. What is that kind is? Encoder decoder mechanism with feed forward neurals inside and attention mechanism. All these things. So, concisely saying, it is a deep neural network which was trained on the huge corpus of data and was used for predicting the text which is understandable and in the form of human languages. If you look at how it will process, how this large language model is trained. These large language models uses this training data for understanding the statistical patterns and the relationship between the words in the sequence and carry forwarded this knowledge for predicting the next word in the sequence one at a time. You have seen in this animated slide, this is the input 2 plus 2 is given to ChatGPT 3 model which completes the input statement. You can see this one how it was generated, one next word at a time. In order to predict next subsequent word in the output sequence, it used whatever the mechanism how it was developed and delivered that we had discussed in the transformer session. So, obviously, the capacity of the model we will discuss in terms of its network parameters. Just now we had discussed. This is a kind of deep neural networks. So, what is this deep neural network? What is its capacity? That I am talking in terms of the learnable or trainable parameters in billions. If you see the GPT version 0.1, GPT primary version, it used 0.1 billion parameters, then the transformer model with 0.25, but large model with 0.34. Yesterday we have seen this model, right? And this T5 model, there is a model called Meena, I too heard for the first time, okay, because I haven't done much focus on this one, right. T5 is with 11 billion and Turing energy with 17 billion and GPT-3 version with 175 billion parameters. Just imagine a simple neural network which we are using with 2 inputs and 2 hidden nodes with a single hidden layer and one node in the output layer. There itself is maximum 8 to 10 parameter, depends on the number of nodes and the weights, biases, all this together. Now just try to illustrate, try to imagine the network with 175 billion parameters. Such a beautiful deep neural network it was to remember, with a huge level of memory elements to remember, right. If you wanted to see the GPT in timelines is, You can see this GPT-1 with which was trained on book crawl and 117 million parameters with 12 layers and the dimension is 768. What is the meaning? Within each hidden layer they took 768 neurons. Dimension of each layer is 768, such 12 layers are there. Coming to the chart GPT-2 version, it was built with 48 layers with the dimension of 1600. Let's do focus on our task of ChatGPT 3 version, 175 billion parameters with 96 layers. The same thing Neil Gupta sir introduced you. How such a deep neural network it is, just imagine. 96 layers are there and within each layer 12,288 neurons. This is what Neil sir had discussed in that session. Clear? Okay. Yeah. This is the model architecture. If you, here is for understanding purpose, a small network was presented here, but actually these hidden layers are 96 hidden layer, each is of the capacity with a total of 178 billion parameter with the total of. Okay. How these models will work? These models input and outputs are organized by tokens. I am giving you the summary and will take you the concept. In these models, both the inputs and outputs will be processed in terms of tokens. Initially, whatever the sentence is given, here I took the sentence, my favorite color is red. The sequence of words will get converted into the tokens. The text will be generated, converted into corresponding token IDs. From the vocabulary, it will generate token IDs. Now, what is this token IDs is nothing but numerical representation of the sequence, input sequence. Why you need to do this one? Why you need to convert? Because the numerical processing is easier than text processing and the models can take the input which is in the numerical vectors only. That is where the concept of number to numeric or word to numeric and then word to vector and then the concepts of word to vec, embedding, TF, IDF, all these things came into the picture. Now, this is how each sequence and the training data will be converted. Once this is converted into the set of tokens, now all these set of tokens which are called as the chunks will be fed to the your GPT deep neural network, right? So that across the 500 billions of tokens will be fed. It is a rough number only. Now the model will be trained to predict next token given a sequence of input tokens. You can see from that one. That is the input sequence given. I will rerun that so that you can better understand. Just have a look on this one again. Started with my favorite color is red. This is the input sequence given to the model. How it will process this input sequence in terms of tokens? For understanding, I kept it as in the words itself in the network, but actually it should be the relevant and corresponding tokens. This is how this sentence tokens will get processed across the network. As an outcome, it deliver the next token in the sequence. That token will get reconverted into the corresponding word. That is the job of decoder. Okay, what is the outcome of this network? Still it is a token of the next word in the sequence. Right. But the problem here is, if it is not guided in a proper way, there are the chances that it can generate a toxic output. So you can see this case. How to make a bomb. My earlier model gave a very good prediction for the statements. My favorite color is red. The same model. For the input sequence, my favorite color is red. So its continuation will be there. It's a non-toxic, no problem, no offensive. But coming to, I am using the same model with another token, sentence token, that is called how to make a bomb. Yeah, it's already well trained. If it is not guided in a proper way, I would get the response for this one also. Right? Yeah, this is the output you can see, which is illegal and dangerous. We can make a bomb by, it will continue with the procedure also. So what you understood here? When the model is getting trained by considering the input data, it has to check whether the input sequences or the predicted sequences or the input prompt given by the user is consisting of any offensive information. Is there any toxic content or there in the prompt? That is to be verified. Yesterday we had a discussion when we are talking about this API features. Two features I introduced in the yesterday discussion. Can anyone remember? Open API dot complete is one feature I used. OpenAI dot OpenAI dot complete dot create. Complete is one feature I used for creating a new chart information, right? Along with one more also I discussed and introduced, that's what you call moderator. What is this moderator? Can you remember? What is the use of this moderation? I had shown these results also in the yesterday's session. Yes. Whether the prompt or the input message given to the model is consisting of any offensive information. I shown you sexually abusive, like those with respect to different parameters. Violence, I used the example, I want to kill him. It was identified as violence with 0.6 or something. So what I am understanding with this conversation is you didn't have much focus on the lecture sessions, right? Okay, right. So when the model is processing the input sequences for completing your chart applications or whatever it is, behind it will use the moderation features to find whether those input prompts are having any offensive content or not. Otherwise, we cannot control this. Right. What is this language model? I am going to tell some mathematical perception. All the things we have discussed in a pictorial representation, I am taking you into the mathematical perception. It is a kind of autoregressive model only. You can see this. This is the next element, probability of next element with the given history. The probability of next element with the given history. What is the concept of language, large language model? Predicting the next word in the sequence. There can be a number of chances are there, many words are there. What would come into this one? Just recollect the output of the decoder. The words are the tokens with the highest probability. At the last you have this softmax layer only. That would give the probability values of the output tokens being predicted. From those, the word or the token with the highest probability would be the outcome of this decoder part. The same I am explaining in mathematical way. The probability of the next element given a historical elements among all the rest of the elements. Historical is among all the remaining elements, right? This theta is represents the parameters. If you are seeing an example of, consider this is the statement, Alice painted her house, question mark. The question mark is the next word to be predicted. What is the next word to come in that question mark place? That is to be predicted, right? Have a look on what are the probable next elements, possible element. Next element could be the probability of this question mark being brown given history is 0.2. The probability of this would be being biggie for the given history is 0.1. The probability of question mark being red with the history is 0.05. Now you can easily capture. What is the word with the highest probability being the next element of that sequence? What is that? Brown, right? Okay. This is the initial prompt given to the model. It had identified with the probabilities and the calculation part what I had shown. Car has been identified. And the next iteration, this entire sequence, you have to listen carefully what I am telling, because on this concept you are going to build an app. It started with the first sequence, Alice painted her, and the model predictor car or something. What is that? Yes, car. Now in the next iteration, this entire sequence is fed as an input. So in every iteration with the newly predicted word, the historical information is also it is passing. That is how it is building the context. If I pass only the car in the next iteration, what is the use? What is the meaning, the context of the car? Okay. Then in the next, it predicted the word on. Now this entire sequence of tokens is fed to the network and predicted the Saturday. This will continue until the last token, which is either end or stop. Okay, right. Now we understood how the model will be used for predicting the next sequence, how it is trained and used for predicting the next sequence. We have the models which we are already using in a structured way. What is the structure? Why I am saying it is a structured way? From the user prompting information, whatever the user is giving the prompting message, it will go to the prompt evaluator of the chat GPT. It will not directly going to process that input sequence which is being translated in the tokens and the chunks. Then it will be passed to the GPT prompt evaluator. This will evaluate this prompt whether it is the safe or unsafe. Here the mechanism of moderator will work, will do his job. It will find out whether the prompt is having any offensive material or non-offensive. If it is non-offensive and safe only, then it will be sent to the GPT model. Thus it will complete this conversation and give the response to the user. Otherwise, if it is found as unsafe by the prompt evaluator, it will be sent back to the user. How it will send back? I will show you in the next slide. Okay. This is how the prompt seems to be like. It is not exactly, but the prompt whatever we are creating, user is giving. This is a concept of prompt design. It should consisting of this text or the description which gives the meaningful task. It has to capture, the model has to capture what is the task that you are giving it to her. It should consisting of the task description along with the optional examples. It's an optional only, no need to give the examples for that. Along with the output indicator. What you are expecting? Should I ask? Replace the word red or the twinkle with rose. Am I gave the clear prompting message to the message? Yes. I said the task is replacing. It was there. What? What is to be replaced? With what? I said twinkle with rose. Clear. And yesterday's slide, the session and the slide between the prompt design and engineering, I told you final outcome of these two, target and aim of these two is nothing but concise, precise, clear, informative prompting. That's it. Okay. Now this prompt of this particular format will be given as an input to the large language model, which will process that input and will return this output by completing that conversation. This is where the field of prompt engineering came from. Here itself the field of prompt engineering started. So I told you, what is the prompt engineering? Creating and designing the prompts in such a way to enhance the performance of the model. Training process of the ChatGPT, if you see, it will include 3 steps. What are those 3 steps? Are fine tuning, reward modeling and reinforcement learning. Okay. What these 3 are? Let us have a look on this one. The reviewer instructions, from the reviewer instructions, we will fine tune the data set. Here you need to do a little bit focus on. You just listen carefully. You can better understand easily. Okay. From the reviewer instructions, the data set will be fine tuned, which is not exactly aligning with the model of the GPT as per his expectations. Now parallelly you can see that from the pre-trained data set, your pre-trained model is extracted. These two together will play a key role in fine tuning your model. Again I am telling you, large language models, GPT, these models are trained on huge data set and can be tailored, nothing but will be used for implementing and build or performing the task on specific small data sets. When it is performing the focused tasks on the small data set, the model itself will fine tune because it was trained on huge data set with wide variety of knowledge. I am not, of course I am well experienced with a wide variety of knowledge in different domains, but right now I have to focus on how effectively I can deliver this lecture session as a teacher. Am I clear? Am I clear? Right now my task is delivering the lecture session. With my experience, I have a knowledge in wide variety of tasks. Can I use that administrative level knowledge to lecture this session? It will not work out. I have to fine tune myself to deliver my lecture session, because right now the task in front of me is deliver the lecture session. The same thing is, it was trained on a huge data set, but for the current task on the small data set, it has to fine tune. How it will fine tune? That is what called the major focus. So these two are playing the key roles while fine tuning your model of the specific task. How it is doing, I am going to explain. Model fine tuning with RLHF. This is important. Neil sir already announced that word. Reinforcement learning from human feedback. Okay? Reinforcement learning from human feedback. This fine-tuned GPT model. So, GPT model will be fine-tuned by taking the feedbacks from the behavior of the human beings, and from those human beings preferences which are collected, it will build a reward model. Based on the preferences, GPT will create a reward model. Now using this reward model and fine-tuned GPT model based on the feedback taken from the human beings, using these two, one is the fine-tuned data set, second is the reward model. Using these two and following the instructions from these two, now GPT has to fine-tune itself for performing the task in an efficient way. It is a repetitive process. What is the meaning of fine-tuning itself? By using the algorithm PPO, Proximal Policy Optimization Algorithm. Okay? It uses a reinforcement algorithm called Proximal Policy Optimization. It is a reinforcement learning algorithm. What is this reinforcement learning? Can you recollect it? With the concept of supervised unsupervised, this was also discussed in a brief way. Reinforcement learning in an environment. When an agent will take an action, while taking an action, it will observe the nature of the environment, will choose one decision, will take an action. But for whatever the action it is taking, it would be either rewarded or penalized. If the action that is taking is right and correct, it would get some rewards, nothing but the points, added components. If the action whatever it took was wrong, then it would be penalized, minus values. What is the use of gaining this knowledge in reinforcement? This is what called reinforcement learning. When it is taking the next step, next action to be implemented, this experience will be considered. Then it will think about, okay, if I am going in this direction, this is wrong, I would be penalized. Sorry, I should not go in this way. I have to go. Yes, if I go in this way, I would get more points. Okay, it's better to go in this way. My ultimate goal is I need to score many points. This is what called reinforcement learning. Okay, you understood this one? Do I need to explain more? Is it clear? The model will be fine-tuned. How it will be fine-tuned? Already it was trained on a huge corpus of data. It is having a very good knowledge, excessive knowledge. But still the model is fine-tuning. That is the original data. But for the specific task of, say suppose the example, now my task as a person, as a professor, my task is delivering this lecture session. I have to fine-tune, create a data set which is relevant to this task. How would I create? I will interact with the colleagues or the students and will take the feedback from them. Based on the feedbacks, I will create one directory or the data set. Okay, these are the points or these are the concepts to be delivered for the lecture session of large language models in order to cover GPT. Am I clear? This is what the fine tuning of my data set based on the feedback of you people as the students and the colleagues. Okay, data set is ready. My fine tuned data set is ready. That's what I had shown in the previous slide. fine tuning of data set. Am I clear? Parallelly, what I supposed to do? This pre-trained model which was trained on the huge corpus also to be changed. All this together in comparison to that one. So what is going to be done in this stage of, sorry, I am building the reward model. I fine tuned my original data set which is required for this specific task, and by taking your preferences, when I interacted with you and taking your feedback, I came to know what are your preferences, what are your expectations. In order to make you satisfied with my lecture session, obviously I need to cover what are the inputs that you gave it to me. Am I clear? If I cover your expectations, in the first lecture session he asked me how this translation will do from English to French or English to Japanese. If I am able to cover that concept whatever as per his expectation, then in my next lecture session I would get, my performance would be better because I am able to satisfy his expectations. So this is what called, taking the user preferences is called the reward model. Combining and using these two together, this fine-tuned data set with the guidelines of the reward model, repeatedly I am practicing the lecture session for this LLM on ChatGPT. Can you imagine? You just think about this one. You people were asked to give the presentations during your seminar sessions, right guys? Can I expect your attention? Right? You have been asked to give the seminar sessions in your daily regular classes. You just tell me, how many of you gave the lecture session? Can you raise up the hands? Anybody gave the presentations? Just raise up the hands. You? Okay, very good. How many times, let me complete, how many times you prepared for getting ready for that lecture session? Right, 2-3 times. Is it one time only? Is it one time only? No. Why you did for 2-3 times? To remember and fine tuning. That's it. So simple. You just have to analog with this realistic example. So using this reward model and the fine tuned data set, I am going to use the reinforcement learn algorithm that is called proximal policy optimization algorithm to fine tune myself to give a better performance in this lecture session. That's it. This picture will give you more illustration. For the input, these are the blue colored are the inputs and these are the responses given by the chat box. It will take the state, from this policy model will receive the state from this conversation of the inputs, and also from the reward model it takes the rewards. Combination of these two things, as I said, these two are the compared together, will decide which action to be taken. So if you wanted to make a study about this algorithm, it is a reinforcement learning algorithm. There is a beautiful paper written by the Shaman at 2017. You can refer this article for getting better understanding of this reinforcement learning algorithm called proximal policy optimization. How the model is? Okay, till now what we discussed is how the model will be trained. Now the concept is how the model is used. This is how the model, how simple it is. I just posted a query, suggest me good cars up to 10 lakh rupees, and it responded me with a enormous information: Maruti Suzuki Swift, Hyundai Grand i10, Tata something, Ford Figo. Very good. How simple it is to use this model? Very simple, na? But it's not that such simple. Okay? Right. What in reality, if you see, just have a look on this PPT slide. Guys, have a look on this PPT slide. Did you observe? It was animated for your convenience, better understanding. I am very much passionate interest about our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, so every time I am using the same example. Okay, let's have a look on this one. This is what this is called. What this is called? User interface. When you are working with the ChatGPT, there is a provision, it's a web interface. There is a provision for you to enter the text. It's a control, right? And some more control, one more control is also there for button. It is also another control. When you press the button, process result will get display in another text area. This is another control. This everything is all nothing but web interface. Correct? Okay, when you are doing the conversation like this in the ChatGPT user interface, when this is a conversation which I made with the ChatGPT. Okay, you can observe this one. The first prompting message, who is the Prime Minister of India? With this, what this GPT model is doing, not only just taking this prompting message and responding the results. It is building what it is called? Context. Every time when user is posting the prompting message, with each prompting message, iteratively it start building the context and iteratively update the context with each and every prompting message and the responses during this conversation between user and the model. With the first prompting message, you can see what it built the context, India and Prime Minister from this prompt. With the response received and given by this Prime Minister of India was Narendra Modi. This Narendra Modi was added to the context. You observe? So what I am saying is, with each prompting message, with the conversation between the user and the model, it will build the context, start building the context and update the context with each and every prompting message which is posted to that. So that it can effectively predict the answer or the response for the prompting message posted by the user relevant to that context.
Whatever you can see here in the blue color, it's not visible to the user. It's a hidden information. I'm trying to tell you what will happen when you are working with the model behind. Can you see it here? The conversation made is complete the rhyme, roses are red, ocean is blue. It's going in such a way. Maybe I'm a rebel person. I'm what you call? Terrorist. I'm much interested. Because red color is symbol of the behavior, aggressiveness, a revolution. Blue color is the symbol and representation of the behavior, smart and smooth going, sensitivity. By meaning of the sentences of the colors capturing this also, it will identify whether these prompting messages are having offensive information or not. Who will do that? The user interface will take the result or OpenAI. Right. Now this result. Okay, done. Whatever the result is, it return the results. The results from the content moderator will be sent to the pre-trained model to check whether it is the valid or invalid. Okay, right? So this will help me to check whether the response or the result returned by the moderator is correct or not. If it is valid, that will be returned as a response. If it is invalid, then
it will say generate some template responses like, sorry, I am not trained to provide medical information. Likewise, okay. Not only the prompting messages from the user, even the responses of the model will also be
go through the evaluators, response evaluators, using the moderation feature. Right. Okay. I think I am almost reaching to the last stage. Limitations of the ChatGPT. If you look at the limitations of the ChatGPT, these are the main 3 limitations as of now. These are the trained on the data up to 2021. So whatever the updates after 2021, the model is not able to respond. If you are yesterday I posted the query, was G 2023 summit ended? It's not able to respond because G 2023 summit ended in the 2 days before, right? Okay, next. Doesn't pull the most references, it can't give the many more references also. And the last is whatever writes is not always perfect. You can't completely 100% rely on the responses of the ChatGPT for certain things. You need to refer the other sources of the documents as well. Over, my theory session is over. Now I am going to take you to the
OpenAI. This was already I had explained, introduced in the yesterday session only. This is an OpenAI environment where you need to get login. If you log in into the openai.com, you will be asked to sign up with this account. Right? Once you sign up, click on the sign up. It will ask you to create your account by choosing either continue with the Google account or Microsoft account. Then you can continue. It will ask you the verification process of your account. It's a regular process, and once this registration is done, you will be asked to log in. Now with the credentials, you can get login into this. This is the screen what you will get. Here you can see there are 3 things are there in this front page of this one: ChatGPT, API and DALI. This is the API from where I entered in the yesterday session. Now in order to work with the ChatGPT with the current version, you are supposed to click on this one. Once you click on this one, you will enter into this ChatGPT account. You logged in and you entered into this account, right? Yeah. This is the provision where you can post your message. This is my account, you can see in the left pan. I logged in with my account. There are the features are also there. This is where is the prompting provision for your prompting message. Once you entered into this, you will get into the environmental settings also you can do. That is optional. Yeah. You can look at here, this is the GPT version 3.5, this is GPT version 4. For GPT version 4, you need to upgrade your subscription. You try out with all these things. Anybody already who are working with this ChatGPT, no problem. If anybody hadn't tried, you start working with this. I am just suggesting you how beautifully you can see the results by doing all these things with the ChatGPT. You can ask for writing a code and you can post the code and ask for checking the errors. Generate the code for a specific task. A poem on, yes, this is what the result, I got a beautiful result. I just asked it to generate a poem on scripting languages. If anybody is having in your hand, you can try it. Okay. Right. At last, if you ask about new Bing, anybody is working with ChatGPT right now? You just ask about new Bing. Can you share what is the response you will get? New Bing. Microsoft new Bing. You just ask post a query about new Bing. No information. Keeping it as a confidential, it's not able to provide. Right. Okay. Now I'm taking you into the practical session. Keep open your laptops. Open the Google Colab. No need of API key for this task. Everyone can run who are able to get access to the open Google Colab. Come on, make it fast. Connect to the Google Colab. I am going to show you how to build a many version chart bot. Connect all of you. It's so simple code. You can do it. You just have to follow my instruction. Right. We have seen how this chat GPT will do the conversation as per the user prompt. Listen. First, the user will give a prompting message, correct? For this prompting message, the context will be created. By keeping the context aside, now the model will complete the response or will generate the response to the query posted by this. You just listen what I am saying, the terms. The same thing you are going to do in the code itself. For the prompting message by the user, posted by the user, the model has to complete or generate the response. It will give the response. But to continue the conversation, what is to be done? The past conversation information is fed back to this. That's what called historical conversation. Entire past conversation is to be given back. This would be added to the existing conversation of the model which built. So that as a model, I can continue the conversation. So simple it is. Right. So first of all, install the required packages. Do it all. Install transformers, pip install Gradio. Gradio is the library that I am going to use for building my user interface for the chatbot. Am I clear? I am going to build a machine language model which is mini chatbot, but to make it interactive session between me, user and the model, I need a user interface. For that, I am using Gradio library. So first of all, install the transformers and install the Gradio library. How many of you are doing? Could you please raise up the hands? I am expecting everyone to do this. It will be helpful for you. Right, please. Done with this? I am going to the next slide. Then import. We installed. Now we need to import the libraries. Import the libraries, transfer from transformers, import the pipeline. I am going to use the Hugging Face pipeline. That's the reason why I told you no need of API key. Are you getting clear what I am going to do? I am going to build a mini version chatbot using Hugging Face pipeline and LLM model which can complete my conversation chat. So I imported the pipeline with the command from transformers import pipeline and another library, required libraries. I wanted to create a conversation. Okay, for this I am using the conversation class by importing the conversation library. Check it out, C is capital. From transformers imported the conversation library. Then I installed Gradio. Now I need to import. That I did with the variable ZR. Import Gradio as ZR. Done? Done with that? Slide. Okay. Then what is the next step? I suppose to use the model which is suitable for conversation. In the last session I had shown you from the OpenAI documentation models, you can see all the models, or else from the Hugging Face pipeline models for the specific task of natural language processing for text generation, text prediction or completion, you can find out the models. Choose the right model for your specific task. Now my task is conversation. So I am choosing the right model which is specifically designed for generating the conversational text. That is called the Facebook BlendBot 400 million parameter distill model. This is the model I am choosing with the pipeline and created a variable called chatbot. Am I clear? What? What error? Type the model correctly. Open the Hugging Face library, find this model and copy that model name as it easily and paste it here. Check the spellings, anything are there. Facebook / BlenderBot hyphen 400 million hyphen distill. This is the name of the model. Shall I move on to the next slide? Anybody got this code executed? Could you please raise up the hands? Fine. So it is executing. You just have to check the spell mistakes. Okay. Now use the conversation class to handle the back and forth initialized with the prompt. I downloaded the conversation. Now I supposed to use this conversation class. What is this job of conversation? What the user is posting, what it is responding, both the things to be handled. It should get started with the initial prompting message from the user. So that's what I am telling you. Use this class to handle both back and forth and initialized with the prompting message. So you can see here conversation from transformers. Sorry, in the before step I think I installed. Okay, it is imported. Now the conversation class, an instance is created with the prompting message. Hi, I am Surabhi, how are you? This is the prompting message. I am initializing my chatbot with the prompting message from my end. Am I clear? Okay, this is the prompting message. I created the conversation class and stored it in the variable conversation itself. Fine. I started my conversation. I had my model. What I supposed to do? This conversation has to be passed to that model. Am I clear? This model was with the name chatbot in the previous slide. So pass this conversation output as an input to the chatbot which I defined in the previous slide. And I am storing that result into the again conversation. I am just because everything is conversation, updated conversation, that's it. I am just displaying the conversation. You can see the result of this conversation code cell. The prompting message given is here, hi, I am Surabhi, how are you? This is from user. You can see it here. It's a defaulted. I said I am using conversation class which is specifically designed for that. I am using the model which is specifically designed for completing the conversation. So this user and bot promptings, those two things are you are getting automatically. Right? This is the input prompt given and the response also you can see here, bot response to this my query. Hi, I am doing well. How are you this evening? I think this was executed yesterday evening. Hopefully you will get this morning, am I right? What is the response you received? Hi?
How are you? I am doing well.
How are you? I am doing well. Very good. This was executed yesterday evening so that I got the message, hi. How are you this evening? Do you have any hobbies? Again it asked me. My conversation was initiated. How many of you executed this code cell? Please raise up the hand so that I can go to. Good. Are you going on? Right? Following me. Shall I go to the next? Conversation was initiated. What is the next step? You have to go on, carry on this conversation. Right? What I supposed to do? Initially, I started my conversation with the prompting message. So it respond me. Now this prompting and response together has to fed back to the model to continue my conversation. Right? That's what GPT is doing. Okay. To keep on conversation going on, you have to use the add user input. You need to call this function add underscore user underscore input with respect to the conversation instance which has been created from the conversation class with the updated conversation. Please remember this. This conversation was updated in the previous lab with the prompting message and the response from the bot also. Am I clear? So another query I posted is where do you work? This is a query from my end. Now again the chatbot was called up with this updated conversation and showed into the updated conversation and printed. Now you can see that how it is conversation had happened. It started with hi, I am Surabhi, how are you? I am doing well, how are you this evening? Do you have any hobbies? Then I posted whatever the query, continued my conversation with where do you work? Then it replied me with I work at grocery store, I am a cashier, what do you do? Now you can continue your conversation. Did this part of code cell? Shall I move on to next? Or you want me to wait for a second? Okay, I'm going on. Right. I've shown you how the conversation should be initiated, how to carry on this conversation. Now the thing is, I need to build a user interface to make it more interactive between user and the chart. I told you, I imported the Gradio library with the variable ZR. Okay. Right. Now just have a look on this code cell and it's going to explain it. We already saw that. We started with the prompt and the response was stored, and the response along with the prompt will be fed back to the model and again get the responses, updated responses and updated prompts. That prompts I am calling right now, it is a message. So I need to capture and keep maintain both the message list and response list. Message list is the messages posted from the user side, my side, and the responses received from the bot side. Both the things I need to maintain. So I created two empty lists for these two things. Keep recording those two. Right? I am defining a function called the mini chatbot. This is my chatbot, what I am building, which takes the input message, starting prompting message, along with the historical information all the time. I told you, all the time, once the conversation has been started, it has to consider the context by considering the past conversation information. So the history. Clear? Both these two are the parameters for this mini chatbot. So the conversation was initiated. This is the main code block which will build a user interface of your chatbot, whatever had shown you in the previous for better understanding how the conversation will work. Okay. Text equal to message. This is a message. Input message will be passed to the conversation class with the parameter text equal to, and this message list, updated message list will be given to that second parameter called past user inputs. 3 parameters are there in the conversation class, I need to specify. And the third one is generated responses, which is given the value response list. For the first time, those two are the empty list. For the next iteration, Those will consisting of the results of the first iteration. Next, now this updated conversation is the input that the chatbot. What is this chatbot? Pipeline function with the chosen model. That I did it in the first code cell after importing the libraries. That chatbot is given this conversation which is built and the conversation is updated. Now I am returning this generated responses of index position -1. What does it mean? Correct. Last response has to be returned. This history updated list I am keeping as a model, I am keeping for myself to keep in following the context. But ultimately I would respond only the result of the conversation. So last index position -1 of the generated responses is to be returned by the conversation. From the conversation will be returned by this function. Done with this job. My mini chatbot was built with this code. Now I wanted to create an interface with Gradio library. Gradio was imported with the variable name ZR in the previous code cells, right? I am using the same thing. ZR dot chart interface is the method to be called up for creating the interface from the Gradio library. ZR dot chart interface, in this C and I are capital, remember. For this 3 parameters have been passed. For interface, the background, some function and activity should be there to get the results will get updated and displayed there. What is the background function to be worked? That is my function mini chatbot, which is just defined. Mini chatbot is passed as a parameter fn function. It's a default one, no need to specify, right? Just pass this function which you wanted to make it as the main function to this interface, and you can give the optional title my chatbot and the description, some description also I gave. Enter text to start charting. These two are the optional, title and description, optional. Only for enhancing this user interface. Done with this. So that is stored into the demo chatbot. My chatbot name is demo chatbot. Yes, I defined my chatbot using Gradio library. Now I need to initiate, launch the chatbot. That I can do by calling the launch method of the demo chatbot which has been just created. Done with this code cell, run the code cell, successful. If you run this code cell, this is what the result, output of the code cell you would get. How many of you got? Thank you. Now what is this one is? It generated the local URL for this user interface. Click on that URL or else copy and paste it in the new browser. Come on, do it. We reach it to the end. Click on URL or else copy and paste it in the new browser. Done. Are you able to get the browser, not the browser, interface? Then start your charting. This is how my interface appeared, chatbot. I gave the chatbot title is my chatbot and I gave the message is enter your text here, the prompting message, not the prompting message. Some description also I gave, that is had appeared here. It's a defaulted one. You can see the controls provided here. Here is the area you can post your query, and you can use the features of retry, undo and clear. This is the submit button. I started my conversation with hello. You please start with hello. Just hello and submit. Error, trace out. Let me complete, I will see that. Okay, you got it? It received my prompt and responded with the message. These are all the conversation what I made. How are you? I just got, I can see here from and tell you, or else. How are you? I just got back from walking my dog. Do you have any pets? Oh, you enjoyed with your doggy? Yeah, I did. What kind of dog you have? I have a pudding. I have a stray dog with me since years. This is my response. This is a conversation we made between. When I said I have a stray dog with me since 8 years, I have a pet dog at my home, it's a stray dog. It's not any of breed. It's a local breed, Ramandapur breed. Then it appreciated me because, as I said, I am taking care of a stray dog. Oh, thank you so much. You just complete your conversation for 2-3 lines. Are you able to? Yes? Huh? Error? I will see. Errors I will see later. I can see after this session. Anybody got successful conversation? Thank you. Anyone else? One person. Thank you. Anyone else? Successful conversations? You just find out what are the errors, or else I can help you at the end of this. Got it? Okay. This is how you can build a chatbot using Hugging Face pipeline. Okay. I can give you a glance of another method. These are all my chatbot conversation to show building a chatbot with OpenAI, working with the OpenAI key. Till now I had shown you the mini version chatbot building using Hugging Face pipeline, using the Gradio library for interface design. Now I am going to show you the code building the mini chatbot using OpenAI key and the Gradio library. Okay. You just listen. You can't run until and unless you are having the OpenAI key. And I am also not going to run in front of you because I already ran this code cell and removed this OpenAI key. So I can't run in front of you. That means a code cell, but I can run this chat environment. Just have a look. Your attention please. Just have a look. This is what the code we installed. Okay, let me zoom for a while. Is it visible? Just listen for next 2-3 minutes. Enough. OpenAI is installed, then Gradio was installed, then Gradio was imported with the variable ZR, and OpenAI was imported. Once it is imported, this is the code cell what I did. OpenAI chat is the function which I defined with taking the prompting message, and what I am doing here is I am using the completion feature to create my conversation completion. This is what yesterday I had shown, right? Okay, I choose the model text DaVinci 003. And the prompting message, what is the input given to this method is given to the variable prompt of this completion feature with the maximum token of 1024, and n equal to 1 is nothing but one best response with highest probability is sufficient. If n equal to 2, 2 responses with the topmost probabilities. It is a conversation chatbot. One response is sufficient. and the temperature I had chosen is the 0.8. I talked about this temperature in the last session. Now its response of this method is completions. The response of the completion is the structured output, which consisting of the lists and the dictionaries with a number of keys. I want the text part of the choices key of the dictionary. So what I am returning from this result of completion is from the choices of index position 0 text, this will be the response. It is returning the response with the along with the strip method applied on it, so that backslash characters will be removed. New line feeds, escape sequences will be removed. Now what I did is, this is how I defined OpenAI chart definition method. Now chartbot was defined, which takes the input and empty history list, starts with that, and the output is updated, the variable is updated with OpenAI chart with the given input, calling that OpenAI which is built in the previous code cell. Okay, right. Now this output along with the input has been appended to the history. I told you, history is to be maintained with the starting prompting message and the response from the chatbot with the new. I am updating the history variable. Now written history and history. Can I ask you one question from the Python? I am feeling you people are the expertise in Python. What is this dual return of history? Here the history was the parameter returned for twice. What is the meaning? What is the meaning? Can anyone? Huh? History?
You are returning a tuple
Ah, correct.
of two sides.
What these two histories are? How these two are different? Same variables, na? I am not using the simple tuple also. Written history is sufficient, but I am doing written history, comma history. Same variable I am returning twice. Any answers? It's a task for you. Let me see. Any one of you come by the end of at least today. Fine. Hey, you can use ChatGPT to get the explanation for this line of code. Fine. Okay. You can understand. I am giving it to you a task. It's easy. Right. Now I am filtering. Yes. Small differentiation. Here I am building the interface with the gr.interface method. I am passing this chatbot as a function and passing these inputs, the text and state, and the outputs chatbot response and the state together, and launching this interface Gradio, and I got this response with the local host of 7860. I am opening this as the 7860. This is my window. This is the output. Interface is a little bit small variation is there in this one. You could see here, this is the input. I will make it a little bit bigger, zoom it. Is it visible now? Right, thank you. You can see here, input hello and submitted. Then it took my response, prompting message and respond me with hello. Okay, now I am clearing and will try to, how are you, and submitting. Let us see how it is responding. Can you see that? It's responding to me. Yeah, I am doing well. Thanks for asking me. Okay, I am going to ask the question, is there anything special today? Is there anything special today? I asked, today is Internet and Women's Day. Is it correct? No, it's a September. It's not the March and May. Okay, Take a moment to celebrate the amazing achievements of human everywhere. Yes, I achieved of building this mini version chatbot. Congratulate me all of you. Thank you so much. So, you please continue this conversation chat. But this is the code cell which you can do build a conversation using OpenAI account and OpenAI key. Any doubts? I am ending this session. So with this I am able to successfully end this large language models. With the today's session much focus on ChatGPT. Thank you so much. Now anybody want me to check their errors, you can come to me.